Hey y'all, on today's show, we're getting into what makes a relationship sticky. Because there are some things that can make it tricky, but today's conversation, we're talking about what makes you stick together, and there are a couple things that can really make you tear apart. Let's get into it. Thank you for tuning in. We are Tristin and Michael, and you are listening to Fused, transparent conversations for marriage, family, and relationships. We invite you to join us as we discuss topics that are thought about but not talked about, so tell your friends and family to check us out. And please do check out our website, fusedmarriages.com.
Hey, what's going on with you today?
Hey, sir.
You looking nice and colorful.
Color, I know, do something.
Yeah, I like the flowers, the what do you call it, magenta? Is that right? That right color?
You better know.
Did I do it?
You did it.
I would say purple, that's only, but
Stay with magenta.
You magenta, violet?
Yeah. No, it's not violet.
Not violet, okay.
No. Magenta, magenta's a little more red, but that's good.
I know the difference. I just knew it was something off from purple, so magenta was
we'll take it.
The thought that came to my head.
We'll take it. They say a lot of guys are colorblind, so the fact that
colorblind, I just don't know a lot of colors.
Okay. We'll leave it there.
It's the truth. I'm like, black, blue, green, red, white.
Roy G. Biv.
Gray.
Those are all.
That's about it.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, that's about it.
Anyway.
That's about it.
Anyway, I know we got some things on your mind. What's on your mind today, sir?
You know what? Yeah, I kind of pinged you about that. I've been thinking about some things, right? It has nothing to do with the topic, y'all. We'll get into the topic in just a second. I've been thinking about spades and in marriage.
Spades and
marriage. And like something clicked in my head. You just go in for a little
Okay.
Something
I like
clicked
spades.
in my head about spades and marriage. For y'all that don't play spades, hopefully I can bring y'all on what I'm talking about. But in spades, you got to make a bid, right? Mm-hmm. If you don't know, you make a bid in order when you have a partner, it's two people playing with each other against two other people. Mm-hmm. You make a bid, and then you end up playing the cards out. Okay. But sometimes you get down, right? You get down to the point where, you in the negative, you can get negative numbers, and you get your scores like you real behind.
Okay.
When that happens, you often go blind.
Okay.
Right? You say, okay, hey, you and your partner, we gonna go blind.
Which means for people that don't play spades.
Yeah, we gonna go blind. Just explain that, so you're gonna mess up how I'm gonna flow with it.
Okay, go ahead. He gonna explain it in this example. I'm about to go get some cards. You got some in the other room. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you go blind. Blind gives you the ability to place a predetermined bid or a score before you actually play the cards.
Right. Before you know what you have.
So you know before you know what you have. Mm-hmm. So you have a set of cards, you haven't seen them yet. Mm-hmm. You place you call it a bid. Mm-hmm. When you go blind, you got to trust your partner, and you got to trust the circumstance that you're about to face.
Right.
Even without knowing what cards have to be played. Right. So you don't know the strategy, you don't know the cards. You just know you got to place this particular bid, because they call it blind, in order to get called back up in the game.
Right.
And I was thinking like, hey, in a marriage, I want a partner that's good with going blind with me. I want somebody that's going to say, okay, you know what? We ain't got no good strategy. We don't know what the cards are going to be. We about to play them, and we about to come on up and do something with it. But that takes trust. Right?
Spades is a game of trust, sure.
It's a game. Yeah, we didn't see where, the partners don't trust each other. They get, some situations can happen. Those to play spades, they can be.
Real fights over spades.
Real fights. So that was something kind of spades and marriage. Go blind. Go blind in the aspect of you trying to pursue something, know something. I want a partner to say, you know what, they trust me enough, even without knowing what cards I have, to say that they still in it with me. That's what I want. I think, a lot of people want that.
That's what you got, babe. Yeah. I'll go in it with you blind.
I know you will.
I know you will. Because we got skin in the game. We both trying to win.
Got skin in
what does your brother say? We're trying to go to the ship.
We're trying to go to the ship. Yeah.
Championship. So that y'all don't think I slipped up. The championship.
You said he put the P on.
Okay.
He put the P on.
Well, it's interesting when you start talking about spades, sometimes things get a little, you can have some questionable times when you play in spades where you do have to trust your partner. But that leads into our conversation today, because what in relationships can make them a little tricky, a little sticky? And that is what we're talking about today. What makes a relationship sticky? So we want to hear from you on this. Please, if you find our content helpful and impactful, share it with a friend. Tell them to join the conversation. Click into the comments, like and share, because I want to know what you guys have experienced, and we're going to get into some of what we have experienced about what makes relationships tricky or sticky?
Yeah, let's go. I'm gonna rephrase it for you just a little bit, because we're talking about sticky, right? In the aspect of can't be drawn apart.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of always gravitate back toward each other.
Mm-hmm.
Some people end up growing apart, end up growing together.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? What makes it sticky? What makes some relationships sticky and others not, right? Whenever they see something or go through something, you see some couples kind of start drifting apart.
So what makes you stick together?
What makes you stick
Talking
together?
about post-it love.
Post-it ain't really that sticky, but yes, they
They have maximum strength post-it. Don't get those weak post-it.
Don't get the weak post-it.
Yeah. So okay, jump into it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so the idea is that we're trying to figure out, okay, and I'm just examining ourselves, examining other relationships, and kind of taking a snapshot of what's going on out there in the world. And you just kind of observe, like, some people go through things and they seem okay. They end up coming on the side of it. They stronger, they're better. They may have had some bumps and bruises, but they end up, staying with it, sticking with each other. Mm-hmm. And other ones, they do not. And what I came to the conclusion of, at least I want to at least get, ask you some questions on, you can ask me as well. I think there's two main reasons why. Why.
Okay.
The first one being, I see the couples that are staying together, they are creating something together.
Okay. So what makes a relationship sticky? What makes you stick together versus tear apart is you're creating something together.
You're creating something together. You are building something. It could be kids, right? You could be creating kids together. We're not gonna limit to that, but you also creating business together, creating a household together. You're trying to create an idea of what you are, what you want to achieve as a unit, whether it's financially or whether it's career wise, whether it's educational. But you're creating something together. And I think that's one of the things I'm seeing, that, the couples that seem to kind of go through things, forget about what the objective is of saying, hey, are they going through, say, financial issues? Mm-hmm. They always have something, hey, we're building this thing over here together, though. Mm-hmm. And they end up staying together. At least it gives them a better shot of having that sticky type of relationship.
Yeah.
So have you seen that, noticed that in any couples, or the opposite side of that, right, where they aren't building? Is there something, you know what I mean, or either end of that? What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's interesting, because when you start to think about the ideology behind, like, okay, what is the thing that you're building? Like you mentioned, kids or businesses or any of those things. When you are really growing to a certain place together and your ideology has shifted and aligned where, hey, we both matter to the outcome of this thing, then I can see why you would stick together. Like, it gives you purpose, versus something that can make it a tricky relationship is if you're not really, or if one is 100% going and the other one's like, I'm not really feeling it. Then you can get tripped up in where you're trying to go or what you're trying to do. And I think that it's important that you do align and you have a lot of clarity even before you get married, if possible. Like, what are you good at? What are you not so great at? How can we be partners in this thing? How can we grow together? I think that that's an important aspect. So yeah, creating something together. But I do want to say, I think it can be kids, but I think it has to be more than kids. I think kids are great, all of that. But if there's not something, what happens when your kids are grown? What happens when they move out of the house? They start pursuing their passions. Then they start discovering what they're created for. If the only thing that kept you engaged with one another and together was the fact that you had kids together, that's not enough for a lifetime. So
yeah, I think, sadly enough, I think we both have witnessed that, at least seen, couples, when the kids are grown, the idea that they trying to figure out, okay, who are we now?
Yeah.
And if they're not, I'm saying, building something together, trying to figure out what the next phase in their life is, what they're trying to figure out, that they end up sometimes, growing apart, at least having a bump in the road, trying to figure out, okay, what are we doing now? Mm-hmm. And I just think, the idea that creating something together, we always talk about, at least not always, but people always reference, be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah. Right.
From the Bible. And oftentimes we look at that, okay, more kids, which we already know, at least, what if you can't have kids? Mm-hmm. What if you get remarried at 50 and you can't be fruitful, from what people are saying as far as, having kids?
People having kids, they fruitful.
Yeah,
50, post 50.
They are, but some people got stuff taken out too.
I know what you mean. I'm just
Yeah, no, I'm like, so like,
just playing.
Some people got stuff taken out. Like, hey, they y'all, we stuck. We can't. So now we can't live biblically because we can't be fruitful. And you think you were saying it? No, you got to be able to create other things. Mm-hmm. And that could be, hey, we're gonna create this household environment that people can come in and be fed and be comfortable and be open and be loved, right? That's creating something. Y'all decide that together. It's all kind of ways to create something. I don't want to go into it, but there's a lot of different ways to create different things as a couple in order to create that stickiness, I'm calling it, for a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that when we start talking about like passions, and for those of you that watch and are not yet married, having discussion. I know when you and I first got together, and I was like asking you like, what are you passionate about? Because I talk about those kinds of things, and you thought I was like, well, that's personal, Why are you asking me all these kind of questions? Because I wanted to know, like, if we gonna be together, I need to know if I like these other parts of you, like things you're gonna pursue. But I say that to say, when we talk to couples in premarital counseling, aligning your passions and really, really hearing what your partner is passionate about is mission critical, because it's important to know, is that something that you are willing to partner with? So, because I think a lot of times you think about partnership, like, I like this person, we make pretty babies, we get along, we don't argue, and that's not enough to feed the inner stirring of life calling.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I heard you use the word passion. I'm like, I'm not for that word.
Oh, I know.
What, how you know?
Go ahead.
I thought I don't know if I ever talked about it.
Yeah, you have. Go ahead. No. Not with our friends here.
Yeah, no. So that the whole passion, it's I understand what you're saying, but for me, I think you get a better image of a person when you figure out what they made for, not what they passionate for. I'm passionate for basketball. Mm-hmm. That ain't what I'm made for. So, and people get mixed up, like, hey, they can be passionate about different things, right? And which is fine, but to understand what a person is made for, if you can get to that, get to the root of that, and sometimes we got to discover that along the journey, right? And there's me not have it just readily made. I discovered mine along the way. Believe that, you know what I mean? Even before we got married, I didn't necessarily know. I knew I'm doing something, but I didn't know exactly what.
Yeah, I think that's part of the journey, though. I think that if you're walking with somebody, it is kind of a step by step in evolution, because like like you said, okay, at this stage of your life, had we been married at the time you were passionate about basketball, things happen, you start to shift. Even in the context of our marriage, since we've been married and we've been together for so long, there's been things that we started off, both of us, and there's been things, they move a little bit. And so I think that, to your point, I think that your passion is the starting point. I think that identifying what that is, but connecting it to what is impactful, what makes a difference. And as you start to find things, like ways that you can sow good seed, you start seeing other things. So we might have started out, passionate about, let me see, like if somebody starts out passionate about baking, but they realize, hey, if I start a company, I can get this product to more people. And so their purpose might move from one point, this thing that I love, to how I can make a difference in the earth. And I think that's the bigger piece of the pie.
No, 100% agree. 100% agree with that. I'm going to jump into the second thing that I believe, if you're okay with that.
Shoot.
You got something else on that topic? Okay.
Go for it.
So the second thing I believe that makes a relationship sticky, stay together, kind of go through the ups and downs of the valleys, is that they have overcome, use the word overcome, a lot of seasons. And I'm saying that they've overcome the different aspects or the challenges of life, and they've seen how their significant other responds to it.
Yeah.
So
That's big.
Say again?
That's big. Keep going.
Yeah. So we always say, oh, I know them. But in reality, like, how many seasons have you seen them go through? And I'm saying not like calendar seasons, but like, have you seen them go through job loss? Have you seen them go through, loss of a loved one? Have you seen them when they're really, 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 really happy? Have you seen them when they're really, really sad? Yeah. And to be able to understand, okay, you know what? I've seen this person in all these different seasons, and I know how they respond. I know what they need for me to respond to them. Yeah. And it might have been a learning lesson along the way, right? I recently lost my mother, and you're trying to figure it out. You haven't lost a parent, and you're trying to figure out maybe how to handle me. But the idea is that, you know what, you're seeing me, how I respond to me, you know, me losing a parent, and you're saying, okay, I see how he responds, what he needs, and you're trying to figure out how to move with me along that journey to get me through that moment, right? But a lot of people don't make it to the other side. Some tragedy happens, you know, lost a job, loss of career, got to move, whatever have you, lose a loved one, and they end up drifting apart. They don't necessarily try to go through that journey with, not say they don't want to, but like they end up having to either decide and say, hey, you know, I don't know what to do. They lost along the way. They still trying to figure out, okay, what this person needs. The person may be shut down. So it takes both to kind of understand, hey, I'm going through something. I don't know what I need. But the idea is to get to the other side of that season.
Yeah. I think it's important that, yes, to what you said, that's really good stuff. I think one of the important notes is that you study your spouse and asking questions, almost like we've talked about this show, like it being the classroom. And so every day you wake up, you have an opportunity to kind of study something new and learn something new. And then in the challenges and in the good times, you start to see how they'll be. Like, we have one son, and so we have older girls, but we have one son. So I'm getting to study my husband as a father to a boy differently than as a mentor to a boy or an advisor to a boy or a father to girls, and to see, okay, is he rougher with him? Does he invest more like principles in him? Like, what is the expectation? You know, is it Channing kill the spider? Or what is it? So I'm getting to observe. And so I think in each season, observing how your spouse is, and a season can be as long as years, depending on what it is. Hey, you're getting to observe me as a parent, and then there might be like kind of micro seasons in there. I'm a parent to a toddler, or a parent to a baby, or a parent to a teen, or a parent to a young adult, which were all of those. And then seeing, how do you negotiate the balance, or I don't know if balance is even the right word, but how do you negotiate all of these different aspects of this one part of you? So, and because we're all multifaceted, you get to observe in many different ways and in many different seasons. So I can observe you, like you said, when your mom passed, I observed you as a son, and then how you were as a grieving son, having lost his mom, and then as a son to your father, who's still here. How do I see that? And then as a brother, and then as a spouse, and then still as a father, and then dealing with our kids in every generation. How now are you having conversations? What is it that I'm seeing you do? And that gives me not only information just so I know, but I have kind of a, what is it? Like, I have like a point of reference in potential future tragedies. Like, or if it's something great, how did you respond when our oldest graduated? Was it like, okay, we're gonna throw a big graduation party, we're gonna spend a lot of money, we're gonna buy, you know, an apartment, we're gonna get a car, we're gonna do all of these things? Was that how you handled it? So that for our other kids, I can start to gauge. So it's just really studying and information gathering. I think the second part of that is having conversations about what you're observing and how to respond. So him, like, you might have one spouse that when things are challenging, they shut down, or they might write, or they might need to talk, and then being willing to say, what do you need from me now? Because that could change. So if, you know, a cousin passes versus a parent passing, what do you need? Is it different? I do have a point of reference, but is it that same thing? So being able to have really open channels of communication, and if they don't know what they need, and I'm specifically talking about passing, but this could apply to anything else. If a person is stressed out, if they don't know what they need, then offering, like, do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to sit down and talk about it? Do you need a minute? Do you let me know? And making yourself available in every season. When it comes to grief, or when it comes to happiness, like, I was happy when our oldest graduated, but also sad when our oldest graduated. I was happy when I had, you know, our baby boy, but I was also stressed and scared, you know, like, I want to do all of the things. So I think it's just important to not take over, but I think that it's important that these observations lead to conversation. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I guess my biggest fear for myself and for people out there, right, is that we give up too soon. go through something or some challenge in life happens and we end up kind of drifting away or walking away or shutting down in a way that makes relationship, starts damaging the relationship.
So what do you do if you're dealing with a spouse that does that? That now there's a distance created because of the season in life.
Which happens. I know it happens, right? It happens. It happens where one spouse shuts down because of, get depressed or something happened or job loss, whatever have you. The other person, I would say, have to hold close. Have to pull in closer. And the idea is not necessarily to say, okay, we can conquer this thing, but to get through that thing.
Yeah.
And if you can get through it, see the other side of it, then we can kind of hopefully go back and do postmortem on how, what happened, what we got to do different, how we got to address it, to try to figure it out all right then. Yeah. Hey, if somebody, like if you ain't never lost a parent, you don't know what to do with somebody that has. You don't know. You know what I mean? So it makes it as a challenge position, right? That person may be shutting down. You're like, okay, why are they shutting down? But you haven't gone through that. So you don't necessarily maybe to understand that. If you haven't, been, IRS call you up and take all your money out your bank account. I can only talk to some better people that have been through that. We've seen some stuff. But like, it happens, right? But those things happen and say, okay, you know what we got to do is Christmas time. We ain't got nothing in the bank account. But what we gonna do?
We're telling parts of our testimony. We gonna squeeze. It's happened.
We gonna squeeze tight.
Things happen.
And we gonna figure it out together. You know what I mean? We'd be crying together, everything. You're like, what we gonna do? We can't get the kids nothing. But honestly, we pull closer together.
Yeah.
Now we figured out, say, okay, hold on, we're not gonna let that happen again. What we gotta do? What happened? But to try to figure out all the stuff right then, everybody getting all tense and this, that, and the other, it ends up. Okay, you get frustrated, I get frustrated, we end up kind of going in separate ways because I can't deal with the issue and deal with you at the same time. That makes it hard. That makes life harder.
That was good. That was good. I can't deal with the issue and deal with you. You have to bind together instead of tearing apart. You have to stick together because that is huge. We have found in a lot of relationships and people that we have talked to that they started pulling apart over a problem that if they had come together, they could have overcome. But because this problem was so pervasive and so intrusive that it caused conflict between the two of them. And so now we're attacking each other and the problem sitting here still being the problem. That problem didn't go away, but it's still sitting there. And now there's an argument between the two spouses. And that's why I think it's important that, like, I know people talk about, like, we in this 50-50, we make 100 or whatever. I don't really know where that came from. I think I have an idea. I think it was some movie that happened. Anyway, but the idea of that is innately in error because there's going to be times that if it's 50-50, that one spouse can't carry their weight. They can't pull themselves up. They can't make it happen. And if you're looking for somebody to come to the table with their part and you have determined that this is their part, there's going to be a time that they just can't. And it can be any number of things. It can be loss in the family. It can be sickness. And I'm saying anything from health challenges to financial challenges to just work being difficult to my dreams not coming true to whatever it is. And if you're saying that this person always has to be this way for the relationship to work for you, not only is that selfish, it's not going to happen because at some point they're going to quote unquote drop the ball. And if you're not willing to pick it up and keep playing the game, then you're out of luck. There's not going to be a relationship.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that whole 100, it's going. We know it's like it ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes I'm going to have a little, and you're going to have a lot. Sometimes I'm going to have a lot, and you're going to have a little.
Yeah.
That goes from financial. That goes from
everything.
Health-wise. That goes from how we handle kids. That goes from who's working the most, who's not working the most. Like it's going to be a give and take, right? The idea is that we're moving forward.
You know what?
Like, yeah.
No, keep going. You were moving forward. But I had an image in my mind because, I like sports. I think I just had a whole epiphany. But that's what makes me mad when players leave the court. Like when they get mad and they throw the ball and they walk out. It's like, hold on, y'all on the court as a team. You might not like what's happening, but you're on the court as a team. And then you go back and you huddle in football, or you might go back in the locker room and say, yo, we got to fix this. We got to get this together because this ain't working. That's the same thing you have to do in your marriage. You have to say, yo, we still keeping on the jersey. I'm not taking it off. I did start doing the most. Okay, let me get it together. I started thinking about this thing, put my hands down, try to be a little ladylike a little bit. But I think that that's what happens is that you start treating this game of life like we're on opposite teams. And you got to keep on your jersey and you have to say, this is not working. We are having a problem. We don't have synergy on this court. We're missing our shots. What do we need to do so that we can address this problem and move forward, whatever that is? And then to your point about sticking together, when you do that, then you get to see a better part of your partner. Then the trust is deepened. If you watch team sports, the players that have played together, they trust each other. Man, you can tell they play the game differently. They trust, hey, I'm gonna throw this, you gonna catch this, you gonna dunk. It's smoother on the court. The longer that they play together, that they have good seasons together, that they have good communication. But if you play a couple games and it doesn't go your way and you willing to be like, nah, trade them, I'm out, I don't want to do this, or you have an attitude about it, not only is it not a fun game anymore, you're not gonna win.
Yeah, life is life. Life's gonna happen. I like that's a great analogy in regards to like the whole sports, because the idea is like, you know what, you said they trust each other. They want to be able to. They've seen enough experiences of what they had to overcome, and they like in their mind they're never out of a game.
Right.
If we're keeping with the sports analogy, like you should never be out of relationships. That'll be the goal, I would think.
That's the goal.
To say, you know what, I don't care what we're up against, we ain't never out. We always gonna be able to overcome. It may look bleak, it may look dire, but
that's hot.
We gonna figure out something.
Yeah, and that's the goal, like you said. That is the goal, and it's the goal for both partners to say that. Yeah. Even if one partner is down and out, even if I'm injured on the bench, I'm still a part of the team. I'm still coming out. That's also why, because y'all know I love sports, that's also why I like seeing players that even when they're injured, they'll be sitting on row 2. They'll sit right behind the bench and they'll still be there to support. They'll still be clapping. I can't play because I tore my hamstring or because I rolled my ankle, but I'm still putting on my suit and I'm gonna clap it up for you. And I think that that's important, is to support the other person in this. Hey, I know you carrying the weight, but I thank you for it. I know normally I do this. Normally I can be on the court. But right now, man, I just need to sit down for a minute. Man, I'm injured. Something's happened. I've experienced something traumatic in my life, or I'm dealing with something emotionally, or I'm trying to handle all these other pieces. And so I think that it's really important, to what you said, to really stay in the game and stick together when you're creating something major together, or when you're moving through the seasons of life together. That's big. I want to give you the last word before we close out.
Yeah, and I think you did a good job of just kind of summing that up. I mean, the idea is that, hey, you know what? Create something together. Try to think about something you create together. If you don't have anything, kids are gone, or you just don't, your kids ain't even up a part of the equation, create something. Y'all paint a wall together, whatever, right? But do something together.
Yeah.
And then just understand that life has seasons in it. Just try to get through it. If you can get through that season, see the other side of it. You probably went through some already. Look back and say, okay, we survived that. Why can we can't survive this?
Yeah, amen. That part. Well, thank y'all for joining us today on Fused. We hope that you learned and you grew. Please, again, share it with people that you might think it would help. Don't forget to subscribe and comment below. We thank you for joining us as we continue to have these conversations. Let's talk about it.